What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cam Show. UFC 294 is 1 day away. The main event, Islam versus Alexander Volkanovski. That fight's going to be epic. The first fight was great, and I hear a lot of fans say, I thought Alexander won, but I just think if you're a true MMA fan, you realize Islam won the first 3 rounds. And yes, I'll give Alexander for sure the 5th round, and the 4th round was such a toss-up. But, when Islam takes Alexander down twice in the first and second round, that starts to add up. So I think the first fight, definitely Islam won. And I hear a lot of people say Volkanovski won, which I don't see how, dude. There's no way that Volkanovski won. And I understand the 5th round, he was getting his, Islam was just getting grounded and pounded, and Volkanovski was just there, just ready, dude. And I just think, looking at this matchup, man, I think it's going to be another epic battle for the main event. It's going to go, I think it should go another 5 rounds. I really do believe that. I just think Islam, man, his wrestling, this guy, we have to understand Islam, he walks around probably about 185, 190 regularly, just out in the streets, just not in training camp. Like, that's how his normal weight is. So he's cutting a lot of weight to make 155. So Islam come fight night, he's probably weighs about 165. He could easily gain 5 to 10 pounds just eating the night before, all night, stuff in your face, and wake up, make a big breakfast and a big lunch, and just, ready for the fight. Like, I just think for Islam, man, the wrestling's too much. I'm going to go Islam, man. I'm going to take the minus 260 right now. Islam's 24-1. His last loss was back in 2015 by knockout. So I just think Islam right now is just a better overall fighter. That's why I'm taking Islam over Alexander Volkanovski. Nothing to hang Volkanovski. I think if Volkanovski wins this fight, it's not going to go to decision like how I see Islam winning it. I think if Volkanovski wants to win this fight, it's going to be by knockout. It's going to be by the overhand right that really, dazed Islam in the first fight. It dazed him in the first round. It was off like the first 2 minutes in. Islam gets a little dazed, but he regroups and just battles back like the champions they both are. But this fight is so great because, we're going against champion versus champion here. Like, that's what's so intriguing about this matchup. It's just like, holy cow, we have 2 champions battling out. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, Alexander Volkanovski, is he related to Alexander the Great back in the Roman days? Who knows? Kind of similar, has a similar nose structure, big nose, kind of round, but Alexander, man, he's a beast. But right now he's plus 210, and that might change. Those will change up leading up to this fight tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting to see what the odds go. But right now he's plus 210. So if you're going to throw money on Alexander Volkanovski, I wouldn't be opposed to do it, but I just think Islam's the better fighter overall. That's why I'm going to Islam in the main event. I can't wait for this one. But, we got the co-main, which I do think this is a 3-round fight, which is crazy to me. I don't understand why it's not a 5-round fight. I think this fight is going to be one of the fights of the year. I really do. We got Kamaru Usman versus Chimaev. Look, Chimaev, up-and-comer. He's 12-0 right now. He's talking a big game. Really kind of, in a way, disrespecting Usman. Like, Usman went on a run, dude. Didn't lose for like 15 straight fights. So he lost the last 2 to Leon Edwards, which really the second time they fought Leon Edwards, he had that in the bag till the 5th round when obviously Leon threw the leg kick and knocked him out. Headshot dead was Leon's quote. But, looking at it, it was just a lucky shot, and he timed it out perfectly. If Usman didn't make a mistake and leaned in like he has done almost in every single fight, that never would have happened, and Usman would be the champion right now. It'd be so reversed, but right now, Usman, he's an underdog. First time he was underdog since 2019, and that was a title fight against Tyron Woodley. And we remember what happened, right? Usman ran through Woodley, won that fight. He went into that fight plus 170. So Usman understands an underdog. Hasn't been in years, though, so up until this fight. So right now, he's plus 275 underdog against Chimaev, which is crazy, right? I mean, Usman, even though I do see Usman kind of slowing down in a way, I don't think Usman's in his prime anymore. I do think his movements are a little bit slower right now, so there definitely is an advantage to Chimaev right now. He's younger. He probably has more hunger right now. He's not a champion like Usman was. Usman's a former champion. He held the belt for about, 4 or 5 years. So Usman's just reigned through the 170 division for years, dude. So, like, he's been at the top for a while, even though he's not at the top right now. But for Chimaev, it's just like he's minus 140. He's supposed to win this fight. He's a younger fighter. He's the more hungry fighter. And he's going up in weight right now. And Chimaev, right now, like, he probably walks around at 210, dude. Like, 185, they had to make this weight. So, and Usman fights at 170. Usman looks like a bigger guy, too. So, coming into this fight, going up to 185 is definitely an interesting, intriguing matchup where it's just like Usman's used to fighting at 170. And Chimaev first came into the UFC fighting at 170. We remember what happened last year. Didn't make weight. Came in at like 178, 179. Kind of joking around about it. Kind of just playing it like it's not a big deal. But really, it is a big deal. You're fighting for the UFC, a multi-billion-dollar company, and you're not going to make weight. That's not true professionalism. And then it's at the press conference yesterday, on his phone, just kind of not really taking it as so serious. So I think if he's just coming into this fight not so serious, even though Chimaev talks about he's going to kill this guy, and smash everybody, at the same time, it's just like, man, like, you got to take Usman serious. Usman has a nasty right hand, and we remember what happened when he knocked out Masvidal with that right hand. So, like, there's going to be, Chimaev's going to have to look out for that. He can't just be loosey-goosey like he was against Gilbert Burns, or else he is going to get slept. He is going to lose this fight if this happens, dude. So I think Chimaev is well awakening, even though he is favorite. He is supposed to win this fight, and I can see why. He's a younger guy. Usman's towards the end of his prime now. He's not in his prime anymore. When he fought Colby Covington, that was his prime, dude. And then after the Colby Covington number 2, it's kind of went decline ever since, man. Like, he just doesn't move the same anymore. He's not as fast. I don't think the hunger and ambition's there anymore. Usman, like I said, he's been champion for years. So, in a way, that hunger can leave you in a way. So, and I do think it's left Usman in a way. So, this fight's going to be interesting. Like, who am I going to take? I want Usman to win. I really do. I want to see him pull out the victory. I think it's going to be close. Now, if Usman does win, it's going to be by knockout. So whereas I could say that about Chimaev, but Chimaev, we've seen in some of his fight, like the Gilbert Burns, that go to decision. And they were throwing haymakers. They were throwing each other to knock each other out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's definitely some balance there, but I think Usman wins only by knockout. That's the difference. So Chimaev, the favorite, is going to win by different things. So, like, he can win by decision. He can win by knockout. He can win, taking you down and submitting you, which I don't think he's going to submit Usman, who's, a former great wrestler in America. So, like, there's definitely some, pros and cons here. But you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go Chimaev here. And I hate to bet on Chimaev. I really do. I want to see Usman win. I think Usman should win, right? That looking at Usman's career in the UFC, he's been dominant for so far. Just a couple mistakes in the Leon Edwards fight, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Or else he would still be champion right now. So it's interesting, but I'm going to go Chimaev here. I think Chimaev wins by utilizing that wrestling game. Chimaev's one of the best grapplers in the UFC, and I think, Chimaev's going to bring that to the table here. He's going to eventually try to take Usman down, and he will take Usman down. If Leon Edwards can take Usman down in that third fight, in the trilogy fight, I think, really he can take him down. And we saw Usman get taken down in the Colby Covington number 2 fight, and they didn't really clarify it as a takedown, but when Daniel Cormier, DC, says it's a takedown, who's an Olympic, guy, it's a takedown, dude. Like, they understand wrestling, and it's a takedown. And that was the last time he got taken down. So I think for Usman, the past couple of fights, getting taken down by Colby Covington in number 2 and getting taken down by Leon Edwards number 3. So there's definitely some leaks right now in Usman's game. Like I said, he's slowing down. He doesn't have that great takedown defense anymore. His knees, the rumor is his knees are banged up. So I think, Chimaev's going to utilize that wrestling. I think, in the first minute, it's going to be interesting. Just like we saw Chimaev fight Kevin Holland. The first minute, he's going to go for that. He's going to shoot for the takedown. Look for that. If I'm Usman and I'm his coaches, I'm saying within the first 10 seconds, they're going to feel each other out. In the first 10 seconds, he's going to shoot for the takedown. So be ready for that. You know what I'm saying? Throw a knee. Do something crazy. Throw an elbow. Make him pay for the price from shooting. So I think that's what Chimaev's going to do. He's going to shoot in the first minute of the fight, and he's going to take you down and ground and pound you. That's what he's going to do. So I think that's the difference here. So I'm going to go Chimaev. I think he's going to win, just by dominant fashion. In a lot of the hype, can be driven down a little bit. Yes, he might stay at 185. I don't see Chimaev going to 170 anymore. It'd be interesting. I'd love to see Chimaev go to 170 and fight Colby Covington because I do think Colby's going to win the belt at UFC 296. I can't wait for that fight, man. That's going to be epic. But I don't see that fight happening. They had that layup fight for him. You know, to fight Nate Diaz, he went overweight. If he didn't go overweight, he would have beat Nate Diaz, which everybody thought that would happen. And then he fights Colby Covington. Then the winner of Covington and Chimaev get Leon Edwards. But all that messed up when Chimaev did not make weight. That's the thing. That's why I said you got to be a true professional here. But that's just learning. He's young right now. But Chimaev, I'm telling you, he's going to beat Kamaru Usman. I hate to say it. I want to see Kamaru win. This is really first couple times that I'm rooting for Kamaru Usman. Where it's just like, dude, this guy, I'm rooting for him now. I want him to win. I want him to beat Chimaev, but I don't see it happening. I got Chimaev winning either by decision or knockout, one of the two. But I think it's going to go to decision. Chimaev's going to win really essentially all 3 rounds. That's how I see the fight winning. So that's my co-main. I got Chimaev. I'll take the minus 340. I'll take that. I'll take the favorites. And then back to the main event. You know, yes, we got Johnny Walker. I'll take Johnny Walker, man. Take off Johnny. I don't see that fight. You know, I see the Russian dude winning that fight. But to the main event, the Islam Volkanovski, man, this is going to be another epic battle. It's going to go 5 rounds. I do believe that. But, you know, if this fight does end early, one of them's going to get knocked out. And I think Volkanovski has got to look for that knockout. That's how you're going to win this fight. You're not going to win this fight in points because, you know, Islam, he has that resilient gas tank. He has great defensive takedown defense, and he has great grappling. So, like, you know, for Volkanovski, you got to come into this fight saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to throw everything I have. I'm gonna throw my crazy rights, and I'm going to take chances here. I want to see Volkanovski really overly aggressive in this fight, just like he was in round 5. You know, and really he lost the first 3 rounds in the first fight. So I wanted to see Volkanovski take some risk here. Even shoot for a couple takedowns maybe. Just mix it up here. You're fighting Islam. You know, he trains with Khabib. Khabib, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. So he understands what's at stake. Okay, so Islam knows. So if I'm going to go bet on both of the favorites. I know people hate that, but I'm betting on both of the favorites in the main. I just see the favorites winning. I see Islam winning similar to last fashion, their last fight in February. I see that the same style of fight, right? Just control, and then, you know, they're going to center off in the stage, throw some crazy haymakers, throw some shots. But overall, I'm definitely going to go Islam. And then once Islam wins this fight, you know, for Volkanovski, nothing to hang your hat on. You're still champion at 145. You know, Volkanovski's going to drop back down. You know, and Islam, you know, it's going to be interesting. I'd love to see Islam go up to 170 and fight Colby next spring. That'd be awesome. I want to see that fight. You know, American wrestling versus Dagestani wrestling. Everybody wants to see it in the UFC. And then when Chimaev wins, hopefully he fights Bo Nickel at 185 in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. That'd be great. You know, next summer, Bo Nickel and Chimaev. Everybody wants to see that fight. You know, 2 great wrestlers in the UFC will trade punches. I can't wait, man. The UFC has something brewing in the future, but I can't wait, man. Like I said, I'm going Islam, and I'm going Chimaev, Khamzat Chimaev over Usman, man. I can't wait for UFC 294. It's the Clown with Cam show. Let's go!